With so many podcasts out there, shows can get lost in the shuffle. That's why we implore you to check out Too Many Captains. You can find us at amoviepodcast.com.
5 unique takes on Hollywood movies and culture. Find us on Twitter at It's a Film Podcast.
Check our intellectual deep dives into theatrical films. Find us on Instagram at Too Many Captains Productions.
Unique takes on soundtracks. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Too Many Captains Productions.
Find us at amoviepodcast.com on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. And now, here comes a new episode of Collateral Cinema.
I'm Bo Maddox.
And I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And this is Collateral Cinema.
Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it, my friends.
Hell yes, and welcome to Anime Month once again. This is like the second season that we've done something like this, right?
Konnichiwa!
Yeah, right. Konnichiwa. What is it? Desu. But yes, indeed. Yeah, we're throwing a bone to the weebs this
Yo,
time.
Mina, podcast no... I don't know.
God damn it, you fucked that up bad.
Podcast no mai no mina.
Oh, my
Or
Lord.
something, I don't know.
Yeah, so tell us how much more of a weeb you are, Ash. Tell us how much of a ginormous weeaboo you are.
I'm not a weeaboo. I don't associate with that.
Yeah, right. Bullshit.
I eschew that demographic because you know what? I just happen to enjoy some anime. Okay.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Especially late '90s anime. I mean, you really can't go wrong there. And I mean, that's what we're here to talk about. I like some of the more modern stuff too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's kind of my stopping ground, but I don't support the degeneracy of the culture or subculture.
No, we don't condone any of that, honestly. I'm going to say that right now. There is no reason to even touch that side of the fandom. You get me?
Yeah, and so if you have an anime profile picture, you are what is wrong with the internet.
Wow, look at us. We're doing our anime month, and here we are just trashing weeaboos. God damn it. Oh, yeah, but all right, weebs. I mean, we're going to throw you a little bone, throw you a little something fun, something that I think might be actually a little more accessible and universal, more or less. We're getting into our first Studio Ghibli movie. And what else would it be but Hayao Miyazaki's Princess Mononoke? I mean, it's just kind of a no-brainer other than maybe like My Neighbor Totoro. I mean...
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is your pick for the anime month, Ash.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to challenge myself because this is one Miyazaki film I actually haven't seen before. I mean, I've seen Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, but I've not seen Princess Mononoke, and this is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best, Miyazaki film. Out of everything I've seen so far, I would have to agree with that. I mean, this is actually kind of a different beast in a lot of ways. It's quite a bit more action-packed than any other Miyazaki film.
Arguably, I mean, unless you want to add like Porco Rosso or Castle Cagliostro.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if you want to add those two. Yeah, remember, he did a Lupin movie.
Okay.
I
mean, there's a lot of Miyazaki's work I really haven't gotten into. I know his is it him or is his son that's involved in Elden Ring?
Yeah, it's his
I believe it's his son. Yeah, and we're doing an episode on that on Collateral Gaming actually coming up. So
yeah, I mean, didn't his son like try to make anime and he like disappointed his father or something?
I don't know.
Isn't Miyazaki's son a fail son?
Haven't they worked together on stuff though?
I don't know. I maybe I heard somewhere that he had some harsh words to say about the first anime that his son actually helmed.
Really?
I kind of heard something along the line, but
Well,
come on, this is the man who muttered the immortal words that, honestly, I'm afraid every anime fan needs to hear, and that's anime was a mistake. Miyazaki said that. That's not coming from me. Miyazaki fucking said that. So, yeah.
okay, but Hayao Miyazaki was based. He realized he foresaw the degeneracy.
Oh, he took one look at 4chan. He was like, nope, I'm retiring. Enough is enough.
And he retired. Exactly. That's why Miyazaki's so based.
Exactly.
He realized when he needed to let go, and so he did. But not without leaving us Princess Mononoke and several other influential works known in Japan as Mononoke-hime, which it actually translates into something else because Mononoke is not a name; it's a title.
It's I think it literally translates to princess.
Well, Hime does.
Hime is princess.
Hime
Yeah.
is princess. I know that.
Yeah.
But I think I do think it's
Mononoke,
a title.
I know what it is. Mononoke means spirit, I believe.
Spirit, yeah, like
Yeah,
princess,
that's what it is.
princess. The term Mononoke is not a name, but a Japanese word for supernatural shape-shifting being. So it's like saying like a supernatural, a shape-shifting princess. And I guess that kind of
so
fits.
basically a spirit princess.
Spirit princess.
Yeah.
So I think, but even so, I mean, you wouldn't be wrong, I guess, for calling San Princess Mononoke. That's not completely incorrect. It's just it's not a name.
Yeah. In the end, I mean, her name is San.
Her name is San.
That's really her name. She's voiced by the one and only Claire Danes from My So-Called Life fame.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you know nothing about. That's like some really hardcore 90s shit right there. Real 90s shit.
Yeah, I can't say I do, but I was, just starting with overall thoughts. I mean, this movie's animation in particular blew me away. I mean, there were points where, I wasn't even sure what to be marveled at more, the plot or the presentation of it. I mean, for a late 90s movie, an anime movie, this looks fucking amazing, and it's all hand drawn.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. This was meticulously hand drawn. Backgrounds, I mean, all that shadow work that's done in here, the shadowing. I mean, and the way that the lighting is presented.
They're complemented by a little bit of CG, I think, with that, like the monster sequence in the beginning with the demon pig, the demon boar, whatever his name was.
Nago.
Nago, yeah.
Yeah, it was Nago. And yeah, that's actually a really, really cool opening sequence. I mean, because, it pretty much establishes everything we need to know about the plot moving forward. I mean, you have Prince Ashitaka. He's a prince himself, which is interesting. He actually has a title of prince, by the way. Mm-hmm. And he gets cursed by Nago and the demon worms that came out of him as a result of being shot. He was shot by an iron round.
Yeah, and I mean, he is pretty much told at the very beginning of the movie that he's fucked. I mean, Ashitaka is going to be consumed by the demon. He's going to die, and that's set up early on. So already we're starting off with a with just a really interesting story here. I mean, we're following this protagonist that, we're even maybe telling ourselves don't get too attached because, how is this going to end? What's going to happen?
Well, he's pretty much been stripped of everything that actually ties him to his former life because of his curse.
The top knot, and I know he's not a samurai, but that's a very, that's a samurai thing, I believe. And he puts on this mask and basically, becomes nothing, right?
Yeah, he's pretty much akin to nothing. Like, at one point, he's referred to as a boy, but after that, he's not really referred to as anything that has agency. He's just he's Ashitaka. you know?
But that's what allows him to be the liaison between the animal world and the human world, so to speak. You know, he has in this unique position, and so is San.
Yeah, San was actually adopted by, I think the wolf's name is Moro, I believe. She's a wolf goddess.
Yeah, they're all Shinto gods, right?
Yeah, they're all Shinto gods. And she really believes that she's a wolf. I mean, even though her human form is very undeniable. I mean, Maro even calls her my ugly yet beautiful daughter. It's like,
Yeah.
because, you know, in the end, she's always going to have the form of humanity. You know, she has humanity in her, and that's always going to make her different from Moro's other cubs.
I mean, that's true, but all the same, Moro accepts her as, you know, her own, and it's just a very interesting relationship because, you know, it still has it's still a very bestial relationship because I know that it's, you know, Moro is a god, but at the same time, you know, still has the instincts of a wolf, you know.
Yes, and also the corporeal form of a wolf too. She's very much, even as a god, you know, all these gods are very easy to wound and kill.
This is true. I noticed that even the Great Spirit, right?
Yeah, the Great Spirit takes a couple of rounds actually before he's felled.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we have these, you know, supposed gods, and, you know, for what we can see, they're just regular animals bound by the same limitations. Obviously, I suppose they're a bit more intelligent.
Well, what's interesting about that is it's the godhood of like Moro and Nago and Otoko and everything. Like it's that godhood that actually allows them to have that type of sentience.
What about all the apes, though?
Well, that's kind of interesting. The apes are starting
they seem to have some kind of sapience, don't they?
Yeah, but their god was actually killed, so you're starting to see that their means of communication is actually starting to deteriorate a little bit.
They're degrading. It's like they're becoming normal animals over time,
yeah,
right?
And they even come at one point to attempt to actually eat Ashitaka because they believe that will actually allow them to rebuild the forest, because that's their job. They go and they replant the trees that are destroyed by the residents of Irontown.
Yeah, and this is set during a particular era. It's called the Mura something, or Muromachi.
The Muromachi, yeah.
Muromachi, and isn't Ashitaka's tribe based on a real life tribe?
I don't necessarily recall what the name of the tribe is, but yeah, he is a member of one of Japan's original indigenous tribes. And I mean, apparently the dress that they have is pretty much taken straight from this indigenous people, and also a lot of the customs, and I think that even, you know, the wolf demon and everything, that's kind of derivative of their mythology.
Yeah, it is really, really interesting. I quite enjoy Japanese mythology and the looks that I've gotten, you know, through watching anime. This movie also incorporates a bit of Western mythology into it.
A little bit.
For instance, with San being raised by wolves. I mean, that echoes the myth of Romulus and Remus, right?
Yeah, but you also have to remember that in Japan, they had wolves that were indigenous to their islands as well.
They have wolf gods, obviously. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, look at video games like Okami. That obviously is inspired by some wolf mythology. I'm trying to think if I know any specific wolf gods. I don't think I do.
I mean, I think everybody is kind of, you know, familiar with, like, you know, nine-tailed fox demons, you know.
True, like Kitsune.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows that, but wolf demons or wolf gods, I mean, that's kind of a different thing, you know, where I mean, of course we have Okami, but, you know, maybe you can see something like that in Inuyasha.
Yeah,
you know, kind of.
There must be a converging myth there that they're all referencing.
There are specific yokai that are kind of, this is based off of as well.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I enjoy the the way that this is presented. I believe that, Miyazaki wasn't even trying as hard to be time accurate as he was with the movie, as he was to just tell a story and convey, the themes that the plot is wanting to convey.
And that's what makes him so masterful about this type of storytelling. It's because he's able to, just extrapolate all these different elements of, the history of this particular region and kind of meld them together into something that's kind of very unique, has a very different look from other anime. I mean, there's really not a whole lot of anime that look like this, even coming from feudal Japan. Like there's not even stuff like in something like Inuyasha that looks like this. You know?
And I mean, it's a movie, so it has a bigger budget than a lot of the serialized anime that we're used to. And then that's always a thing, but Miyazaki don't fuck around. I mean, there's an intricate amount of work that goes into it, and it shows.
Yeah, and namely the type of thematic material that he's working with. Like, first and foremost, obviously, is basically the importance of nature and in its destruction at the hands of humanity. I mean, this is a very environmentalist movie. I mean, this was actually kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah,
when it comes to that.
I mean, it's basically Dances with Wolves before,
with a little bit of Fern Gully thrown in.
Right.
But no, honestly, it's way more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's framed is that you have Irontown, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's this model of technical prowess and progress. I mean, that's top-notch technology for its time. I mean, they're working with like early versions of firearms and whatnot. They're basically like hand cannons and rifles and whatnot, like early matchlock rifles.
Yeah, it must have been like they got it from China or something.
Yeah, and they're going through, and they're also have an extensive iron smelting operation there. That's why they're called Irontown, and that's kind of what lays forth the foundation of the main conflict of the movie, is that Lady Eboshi, like, she's pretty much a venture capitalist when you get down to it. Like, she's pretty much like, she's wanting to destroy the forest gods in order to be able to subjugate the animals, which will allow her to strip the forests and mine more iron ore.
Yeah. And this is about Muromachi period was from the early 1300s to the late 1500s. So, and this is kind of set late within that period. So we're talking, the 14 or 1500s here, 15th or 16th century, right?
So that's kind of probably close to the Warring States period, maybe before that. Or
I'm not real big on the history, and you think I would be because I'm a huge Japanophile. I love the culture. I've been learning the language, but I think there's a lot of gaps in my knowledge of the history.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's because Japan was a very secluded region, between the feudal era of Japan and, more recently, around World War II, Japan kind of was had faded into obscurity. They were not really...
Yeah.
They kind of just kept to themselves, was very isolated. So, and then this movie, I think, takes place within that sort of time frame. I mean, the shit that was going on that...
Yeah. I mean, and there was a little bit of a warring period right there, a war period.
Yeah.
Like the feudal lords, I mean, the samurai lords, they were really trying to consolidate power and everything. And I mean, I believe it was Nobunaga that eventually unified Japan, right? I believe Oda Nobunaga.
Yeah. But I want to say, wouldn't this have been after the Warring States period?
It probably would have.
Right, because, I mean, you've got firearms here, and I think it was firearms that ended up causing, the decline of the samurai, that kind of killed the samurai, so to speak. Because you can't really fight honorably against guns.
But what's interesting about this is that, in a way, this is kind of showing early on when firearms were really starting to kind of come into Japan, and where it started to change that dynamic. Because, I mean, that's what you're kind of seeing here, and that's what Jigo, who's played by Billy Bob Thornton, I might add.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Jigo, I mean, he's really the main villain of this movie. He's the one who's actually trying to pit Irontown versus the forest gods and everything. And at the same time, you have Lord Asano, who we never actually see.
Mm-hmm.
We have his forces that they're contending with. I mean, and it turns into this whole like goat rodeo near the end, where Irontown is being attacked while Lady Eboshi is hunting for the forest spirit, and then Ashitaka is trying to stop all this shit.
And even Lady Eboshi is not really she's not really like demonized. She's not a particularly malevolent character.
Well,
she's representing, the conflict, but
yeah, that kind of goes to another theme that Miyazaki likes to touch on is, the actual essence of what good and evil is, and how it's really, really a very, very nuanced situation. There's infinite amounts of gray in the world of Miyazaki,
Yeah.
I mean, even the most evil actions that Lady Eboshi could, actually undergo, it's all for the people that she's leading in Irontown, who all look up to her, and it actually looks like a really cool place to live. I mean, she's liberated sex workers from, not that sex work is wrong or anything, but she liberated women from forcibly being put in brothels and whatnot. And also brought their husbands on. Like, I mean, they pretty much taught all of them, to work.
I don't know. Their attitude towards it is just, hey, we make more money doing this than we were working in a brothel. So, and we can eat as much as we want. So,
yeah, it's like, this is a good deal for us. It's like, and there's real camaraderie amongst all of them. Like, for instance, when you have Kuroku and Toki, who are really, really central figures amongst the lay people of Irontown.
Yeah,
they're actually almost kind of de facto leadership positions there.
I just think it's funny how all the ladies want Ashitaka's dick.
Oh, they got thirsty real quick when he showed up, right?
Those are some lonely ass women.
Like Eboshi was pretty much the only one who wasn't thirsty,
right?
That's because she's thirsty for another type of thing. She's thirsty for power.
Yeah,
she wants to rule the world.
She's got no time for love or for lust. She's just
straightforward. She knows what she wants, and she's going to fucking get it.
She's gonna fucking get it.
Yeah, but she's actually very fair and very balanced in the way that she goes about it. I mean, like I said, Irontown does not seem like a bad place to actually be for that time.
No,
I mean, you could do a lot worse, like just in general.
I mean, you had poor healthcare no matter what, so.
Yeah, I think that they actually had better healthcare. She even took lepers in and put them to work making rifles.
That's true, So you have, this faction of people that are also not inherently bad. You've got nature, which isn't inherently good or evil either.
And that ties back into the whole themes of nature and its conflict with humanity, is how it's even then, nature is neither really malevolent nor is it benevolent, It really, it just is very amoral, and it's just going to do what it's going to do. And that's kind of what Miyazaki is pointing out a little bit.
Yeah, because like you said, you're seeing both the good and the bad, the pros and cons of technological progress. You have people that are brought out of situations that were poorer quality of living, but you've also see how that affects nature, and what that means for humanity as nature basically. What's the word? Takes its revenge. I mean, I was looking for something else.
Takes vengeance.
Takes vengeance.
Yeah,
something like that. But like nature fights back.
It does. And that curse that Ashitaka has on his arm is indicative of that. And that kind of shows how, if you allow the right conditions for an evil act to occur, that evil act will kind of cycle around back onto everybody, because Ashitaka's hand is cursed. He was cursed by Nago. Nago was a demon because Nago was shot by an iron round. And who shot that iron round? Eboshi. Eboshi shot that. So, I mean, in many ways, it's all about, like the conditions that lead to evil actions and how those evil actions kind of come home to roost in many ways. I guess you could call it karma. Although I don't really think that's even what Miyazaki is going for there.
No.
honestly.
I think ultimately it just it represents how ultimately what's the word I'm looking for here? Helpless
Yeah.
humanity as it gets. I mean, it kind of brings home the idea of the impermanence of humanity in the face of the forces of nature. Just as Ashitaka is helpless to stop this curse, and ultimately, nature is what takes it away, but it's at nature's whim, not his own. He's completely helpless in the face of it. And so, when Ashitaka's gone, when humanity's gone, nature is still gonna be there.
Well,
Dictating the flow.
In the end, then this goes back to another point of what Miyazaki was saying is that, we're kind of seeing nature doing that right now in real time.
Yeah.
Obviously we are not
True.
we are not a climate change denying podcast. We know that is definitely a looming threat. And this movie understands that. And it also shows that, just as nature can be malevolent or benevolent, I don't know why I can't speak right now, but so can humanity, towards nature. And
We're at
9 times
nature's
out of 10,
mercy.
9 times out of 10, it's like humanity, like nature can win, but there's a lot of ways that humanity kind of won over nature, and now that's kind of looping back on us.
Humanity upsets the balance, but basically it's like stirring a hornet's nest.
Nature is always going to be a self-correcting thing.
Exactly. So while humanity has a significant influence on nature comes to get us in the end.
Yeah.
It's like we can fuck up our planet, but we're gonna fuck up ourselves too, and that's still just nature.
And in the end, nature will reclaim what is nature's.
Exactly.
Like, I remember there was that series, I think it was on Discovery Channel, it was called After Earth. And it was really fascinating because, that's exactly what would happen if we were just gone and we were there to kind of maintain, our infrastructure and maintain society. It's like, eventually nature would overtake it. Nature would reclaim it.
Hey, Bo.
And
we live in a society.
Yeah, we do live in a society. Bottom text.
Bottom text.
But you see that near the end of this movie as well. It's like the nature pretty much reclaims its balance, and it's humans that have to kind of replace that balance. Because remember, the forest spirit's head has to be returned by human hands.
Right. Humanity has to atone. Humanity has to make the amends.
Yes, exactly.
And ultimately, I think is rewarded. I think nature kind of has a sort of a forgiving attitude by the end. It's like, okay, you've atoned for this, but in the end, it's also a very tenuous kind of balance. Because you have to remember, the forest spirit is no longer alive by the end of the movie, even after reclaiming its head. No.
In many ways, it didn't really die. It just kind of forced its essence to kind of rebuild the forest in one fell swoop, and that just kind of wiped him out. Like, in the end, the forest spirit is just kind of in the forest, but it's not his forest anymore.
Right.
So, it's kind of interesting how Miyazaki allowed that to play out in the end. But and despite what's happening to Ashitaka, I think he's a sympathetic character. He's a character I think that we actually have, some kind of feeling toward. He doesn't have any necessarily extravagant details about his personality, but what we do know about him is that, he's an earnest and prepossessed young man, Yeah. Well, he was a prince before he was cursed.
And ultimately he continues to try to do the right thing. I kind of like his attitude about it, and what's funny is that, because he's a dead man walking, he kind of doesn't care what happens to him. He's like, you know what? You want to try to kill me? Go ahead,
In many ways, that makes him precisely the agent for that type of diplomacy, when you really think about it, between nature and humanity.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose, so at least he's going to try to set things right and do what he can. He seems to kind of have this fixation with San. There's obviously, kind of an implied romance there. but at the same time, it's very subtle. It's not like in your face. There's no direct acceptance of that. I mean, they could easily be friends. It's definitely heavily implied, but
I don't know.
He called her beautiful, and there's the whole mama bird moment.
Yeah,
it's like her kissing him. I mean, I think it's obvious that we're led to believe that, and hey, I ship it.
In a time when gods walk the earth, an epic battle rages between the encroaching civilization of man and the gods of the forest.
When the forest has been cleared and the wolves wiped out, this place will be the richest land in the world.
Now, the fate of the world rests on the courage of one fearless princess
I'm not afraid to die, and I would do anything to get the humans out of here.
and one brave warrior.
You fight like a demon, boy. Like something possessed.
What exactly are you here for?
To see with eyes unclouded by hate.
Now watch closely, everyone. I'm going to show you how to kill a god. Fire!
Billy Crudup, Claire Danes, Minnie Driver, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Billy Bob Thornton.
You cannot alter your fate, however. You can rise to meet it if you choose.
Princess Mononoke.
Honestly, dare I say, it might actually be a demisexual movie.
This movie,
perhaps.
I guess it's demisexual as fuck, right? I mean,
yeah, because in the end, I mean, they really do kind of get to know each other like pretty well near the end.
I don't know how old the characters are supposed to be, but
I think they're kind of coded maybe early to mid 20s at the very least. I think
at the youngest, like 18, I think. You know?
I would say youngest maybe 20, oldest 25.
Okay,
maybe that's where I would put their age ranges.
But I think they're fucking after this.
Oh, I don't know.
Cue that.
I don't know.
The boys meme.
I can't fucking sexualize any of these characters like that. It's just. I get a totally different feeling from this movie about that.
That's fair,
fair,
but come on.
I mean, seriously, I can't really see it. Like, I mean, please do not. I mean, I know that it probably is out there because, Rule 34, but it's like, I have no need to see anything erotic or sexualized involving these characters. It's kind of the same with the characters of Inuyasha. I have an aversion to seeing anything like remotely pornographic about them. So
yeah,
I kind of had to take that same stance with Princess Mononoke because this is a movie that has something to say.
It does, and
if you're sexualizing people, I mean, it's fine. Personally, I think that Toki is kind of adorable in her own way, but it's like, I mean, you're missing the point of the movie if that's what you're doing.
This is true.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely is. This movie has a lot to say. It's well acted. I mean, this is one of the better English dubs I've ever heard. And apparently almost didn't have an English dub, or they didn't want to do it, but Miyazaki stood his ground and said, no, this movie should have a...
Yeah, it should have an English dub, and not just an English dub, like an English dub with some serious actors as well. You got Billy Bob Thornton here, Minnie Driver, Billy Crudup, Claire Danes, Keith David.
Even Tara Strong shows up, actually.
Yeah, Tara Strong, John DiMaggio, Bender himself, which, by the way, he should totally get a pay raise for Futurama if they're going to reboot it.
And Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith as well. But yeah, we are on John DiMaggio's side here 100%. We're with you, John. Yeah. We're 100%. You deserve a pay raise. But yeah, this is a great dub because it's a great ensemble cast, and that's a tradition that Ghibli would kind of continue with most all of their other movies pretty much from then on.
I think it was important. I think Miyazaki realized that to be able to hear this movie in your natural language, to connect with the characters, was important. Although I would like to go and watch the Japanese version with subs at some point, and I think it's worth another watch.
I'm sure that it will add a completely different context to it, like maybe an even better context.
Yeah,
but honestly, I like the idea of getting like real big name actors, because I like to think that that's kind of what helped legitimize anime as a mainstream art form.
That's true. I mean, they didn't use voice actors; they used like actual real names,
and actors who were perfect for their roles as well.
Yeah, there I say. I mean, this movie actually spent a budget, and you can see it. It shows.
For fuck's sake, you got Billy Crudup. I mean, that's Dr. Manhattan, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's fucking Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. And Minnie Driver, she's from fucking Good Will Hunting. And of course, Billy Bob Thornton. I mean, what can we say?
What else are we going to say about Billy
What else are we going to say about motherfucking Billy Bong Thornton?
Billy Bong Thornton.
Right?
Speaking of which, I want to load this bong.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that, buddy. You go ahead and you do that. But yeah, going back to the animation, I think that something that really, really sells it is just the way that the characters are designed, and that really adds to just the fluidity of the animation, and it makes them seem actually human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and that's something that's very unique to Miyazaki's movies, is that anytime there's any human characters in his movies, which is most of the time, it's like there's just so much life to them that you believe that they're real people.
You do.
Like, just look at everybody at Irontown. It really does feel like a living, breathing town with lots of good people that are working hard and believe in what they're working for, It really makes you kind of want to live there a little bit. So I think I don't mind working in an iron smelting, or if it's that fucking laid back. I mean, shit.
Yeah, they look like they're just chilling. They're enjoying what they do,
and they're not left for wanting either.
But the characters do feel very human here. I got to agree. The characters don't seem to have those typical exaggerated characteristics that you normally see in anime that's come to define the genre. They still fit character archetypes.
Yeah,
but they're very they're archetypes that serve the plot. This very much feels like a folktale come to life, sort of.
It does. But also one that seems like it'd still be really grounded in a historical precedent.
Exactly.
Like even if you take the fantastical elements, I mean, it just fits so well because it's such a loving tribute to that level of folklore and mythology. I mean, there are a few actual yokai that are involved here. Like for instance, I mean, we got to talk about the Kodama, those are wood sprites. And the legend has it that if you cut down a tree, then the wood sprites will come down on you and they will curse you for eternity.
Fuck yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the trees. Listen, I'm the Lorax and I speak for the trees. Don't fuck with the trees.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. No. The Lorax arms himself to protect the trees. That's what he does. He gets the Kalashnikov.
I like just another moment that came up. I love how Ashitaka's arm just kind of works itself, or at least at the beginning of the film, right? It's doing its own thing. It's decapitating dudes with arrows because of demon strength.
Yeah, and that's amazing that there's that much level of gore in this movie.
It's surprising to say the least for a Miyazaki film.
It's practically Ninja Scroll levels. It's just not as bloody. That's maybe the difference. It's not like there was spurting blood or anything.
It's not exploitative.
Yeah, it's not like Ninja Scroll or Wicked City where it's just gore and violence and grue. This is no cyber bullshit here. But it does feel very, realistic though. But I mean, still, this is a movie that's only like what, PG-13?
Really?
No, yeah, it's not even rated
Interesting.
R. I don't even think it's rated R. I might be wrong. It might be rated R. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like today it would definitely get a little bit of a higher rating. But, and by the way, because,
PG-13.
PG-13? Yeah. Alrighty.
Well, I mean, remember, back in the day, the Indiana Jones movies had, like, motherfuckers ripping hearts out of people, decapitations and whatnot. like people melting and exploding, and those were PG to PG-13 movies. Those are the reason that the PG-13 rating was made, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was for those particular movies.
Yeah, and this movie doesn't have, there like you said, there's no real sensualization to it. There's no, it's just, it is what it is, it's flat out. But going back, I like how Ashitaka deals with this arm that kind of does its own thing, but then later on goes to control it and handle the power.
Yeah, and that's once again another thing that comes straight from Japanese folklore. It's like there are certain like yokai that are pretty much like black snakes that if they bite you, they will infect you with a curse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that has precedent in Japanese folklore as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much supposed to be the hatred that, is the undercurrent for all of these conflicts here, Mm-hmm. I mean, remember, Nago, when he died, he pretty much said, like, you filthy, disgusting creatures, you are all going to suffer my wrath. You'll suffer exactly like me. Like, he says it in a way, it's John DiMaggio, and he says it in a way that's, like, really cold. It's like, ooh, damn, that's some seething hatred right there.
No, there's some real talent here.
Oh, lots of talent, of course, as it were. But, this movie, as far as the story is concerned, I love of Irontown, of course, and how that plays into everything. And it kind of leads to that central conflict where it's kind of a war on like three fronts in a way, or at least two fronts. You have the war with the Boers,
There are multiple factions at play here.
Multiple factions. And that's another thing that kind of goes back to what Miyazaki was saying about good and evil. Like another thing that kind of plays into that is how people draw their lines because of that.
Yeah.
And this is a movie where lots of lines are fucking drawn here.
Yeah, this is true. I was watching this too, and one of the first things that came to mind, I think even in the opening sequence, is how much fun this game could be as like a turn-based strategy RPG, like Fire Emblem style. I don't know, I could see a really dope video game that was like that.
We're seeing Ashitaka at the bellows right now. All these women are so thirsty over him.
They're so thirsty.
Look at them. And they all have husbands,
They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
These women have these women all have agency, They do what they want.
And that's because they have a real important place within the inner workings of Irontown. They're the ones who are not only like keeping the iron ore melting, they're also like part of the defense force there. Like in Irontown near the end, when they're battling Lord Asano's forces, everybody picks up a rifle and everything.
To be fair, in Japanese culture, women have often had positions of authority and more agency as compared to other cultures. That's kind of been an undergoing current.
There's still some regressive elements to the culture.
Definitely. The idea of brothels to begin with.
Yeah, of course.
Unless you've also got men in brothels. If you got men working brothels too, then it's totally okay. Sex work is real work. But if you could find better work that pays better, then do what suits you best.
Exactly. But hey, some of us are quite talented in that area, so they would excel in sex work. So,
Bo, when's the last time you had sex?
Don't fucking make this about me. I'm talking about the sex workers. Asshole.
Oh.
God damn it.
I thought, okay.
But anyway, I guess we can start getting into final thoughts about this movie, perhaps. Yeah, this is one of my favorite anime movies of all time, right here. I've told a lot of good stories about watching anime with my family and with my friends and whatnot, but this one, I remember first watching this with my brother. We were just chilling out in my I don't remember where we were at, in my mom's room or whatever, and this came on. And then this was early on when we were really discovering anime. We were really like just kind of getting into the culture a little bit. And this was a real touchstone because this was, other than Akira, this was like the second movie that I saw that I was just like, oh, this is high art.
It is. Anybody could watch this, and because it doesn't abuse a lot of the anime tropes, I think it's a very accessible film.
Yeah, it's probably the least anime movie I've ever seen when you really get down to it.
I mean, Miyazaki films kind of come off that way, despite the fact that they're highly influential to anime.
Very much so. Like I said, he did a Lupin the Third movie, and might I ask, the greatest Lupin the Third movie, Castle of Cagliostro. Yeah. It's also one of Miyazaki's greatest movies. So, I mean, this is a man that has made like Porco Rosso and My Neighbor Totoro. And, Studio Ghibli, they've had like immensely important works. Like for instance, I have Grave of the Fireflies right here. That's another very important. I think Ghibli released it. I don't know. No, this is from Sentai Filmworks actually, but this is a very Ghibli-ish work right here.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, it has. It's a very disturbing movie as well. Very sad.
I don't know. This kind of makes me want to. This kind of makes me want to play like a JRPG or something.
I know, right?
There are some pretty Ghibli-ish JRPGs out there.
Yeah, I would like to say that maybe Princess Mononoke may have had a little bit of influence on JRPGs at that time.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, when this movie came out, I mean, you can kind of see certain anime or certain JRPGs actually try to cop this style. This, kind of nondescript, specific period in Japanese history. And the different types of folkloric monsters and yokai and whatnot that surrounds that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think, I don't remember if this came out before Inuyasha, but, I mean, this kind of, it feels like Inuyasha, but without all the real anime tropey stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got, like, demons, you got the fucking, the romance and everything. Well, this one's more demisexual than Kagome and Inuyasha.
It really is. I mean, Ashitaka doesn't give a fuck about these other women. I mean, if a bunch of thirsty middle-aged women were coming after me, I'd say, fuck yeah. I get to pick of any woman in this village I fucking want, or all of them at once. But come on, let's go!
But Ashitaka, he pretty much is just like, you know what? San is...
But that's true. I can identify with that, too. I simp pretty hard.
It's different than simping, bro.
I call it simping, but
it's very different.
Liking someone, having this emotional connection and wanting them. I mean, that's something I understand, definitely.
Even then, it's fucking different, bro. Yes, don't give me that look. Don't give me that look at all. Don't make me start making accusations of ace phobia.
When I simp hard.
Well, if I ever come to Jesus, I come all the way.
I come all the way.
But Ash, what are your thoughts on this movie?
It's a damn near perfect film. It's honestly a lot of fun. I think I would recommend this. It's just everybody needs to see this movie.
Yeah,
honestly, it's great. I mean, I don't care if you like or dislike anime. Just watch this film for what it is, as a standalone film, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, right on. So real quick, favorite character and favorite scenes. Like what do you think?
I think San is my favorite character.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
I like her quite a bit.
Right, why is that?
She just has if I feel like we've used this word a lot, but she has her own sense of agency. She does whatever she does what she wants, but she also has a voice of reason. She's a character that continually surprises you.
But also, she's a character who is just very much like Ashitaka in that she's caught in this weird kind of limbo as far as her identity is concerned,
Yeah.
Like, she is neither wolf nor human at that point,
she doesn't fit in either world.
No, not at all.
Ashitaka brings that point up.
And Ashitaka, he's pretty much been forced into that. Like, he has no actual, like, home or family to speak of.
That's why they're kindred spirits, and then, he tells her that he wants to he live with her the rest of his life, and
Yeah.
they ultimately end up going their own separate paths. But he says that he's going to come visit her, and you have the idea that
I don't think that's necessarily a separate path because they're pretty much going to be like right next to each other.
Yeah,
like she's pretty much just going to be in the adjacent.
They're
forest.
just not moving in together yet. Small steps.
Yeah, small steps. Yeah, those are demi goals right there. Demisexual goals. Small steps.
I don't think you should wait until marriage to live with someone though. That's kind of ridiculous. You have to get to know who someone is before you pledge your life to them.
That's true. That's true.
But you don't have to start living together right away.
Yeah, but how about favorite scene from the movie?
Favorite scene?
You have to actually think about that. There's a lot of great moments in this movie, though. There really is.
I kind of just like the opening scene, to be honest. I mean,
it's quite possibly one of the best opening scenes of any anime movie, period.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you kind of get the feel of the setting, like you're introduced to Ashitaka and his place in his little neck of the woods and
it's
everything.
Just so well animated.
And
they really had to make it. They had to make it land. So they put a lot of effort into the opening.
But they actually really injected high stakes just into that scene alone. I mean, just because they know that anybody that touches the Black Death, they're done for.
Yeah, exactly.
They know this. But even then, even though Nago attacks them, and even though he's demonified and everything, like you notice that the old wise lady, she still tries to do funeral rites for him. It's like, we will do burial rites for you. Please do not hate us. Please do not curse us. But of course, that doesn't necessarily work 100%. As we see. But yeah, that intro scene is really, really cool. I really like that. Honestly, my favorite scenes are pretty much anything in Irontown when they're just kind of interacting with the people that live there. It feels like just a real breathing entity all its own, and everybody within that entity kind of has their role there. Like I said, even the lepers have a place there.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody contributes.
Everybody contributes, and Eboshi seems to be very fair. She's by no means like a good person. She's still a rapacious capitalist. She wants to get more ore to, keep the money coming in to Irontown so that they can live some semblance of a decent life, like what they're living.
Yeah.
So, you'd have to imagine that the pressures are pretty heavy on her, but she takes it with stride. She takes it with some poise. She is an excellent leader.
She is.
You really can't fault her for doing what she's doing. Is it necessarily good what she's doing? No, not at all. In fact, and she pays for it in the end, kind of.
Yeah.
She loses a limb, and Irontown ends up pretty much getting waylaid by the Nightwalker and whatnot. Not to mention being attacked by Lord Asano and everything, but which happened because she went out to find and hunt the forest spirit, which she had this almost single-minded kind of drive to do so.
And for that, she paid the price of her ambition, what she worked hard for, crumbling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that ambition. She wanted to rule the world, and all it took was killing a god to kind of make all that just topple down. That's all it took. One shot at decapitating a god. Who'd have thunk, right? Who'd have thunk that deicide would probably not be a good idea for the trajectory of your town.
What are you talking about? Deicide is based.
Oh, deicide is very based.
Based as fuck.
I'm just trying to thinking pragmatically here because that's really what's at the core of Princess Mononoke. This is an incredibly pragmatic film. I like to think that Miyazaki likes to put a strong philosophic core to most all of his movies. Like Nausicaa is very much kind of a Marxist movie. You can argue that Ponyo is, I wouldn't say utilitarian. I'm not really sure what the philosophy there is, but here this is very much like it's very much pragmatic. It's trying to take the entire big picture into consideration and the different nuances that make that big picture complicated.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is a complicated big picture here in this movie. very complicated.
I enjoy the nuances of the plot, you know, and I like how intricate it is. I like how there doesn't really seem to be a very binary measure of
good or evil.
Yeah,
or
there's no
of,
duality there. It's a spectrum. It's all morally gray, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I mean, in many ways you can tell that, you know, nature in the forest, they recognize that, you know, and they act accordingly. So, I mean, I don't know what more can we really say about this movie.
I think this movie is ethical consumption under capitalism.
It's very ethical, and I would argue maybe slightly vegan. Even
okay,
it's totally vegan, bro. It's all for the animals. It's all for, you know, the balance of nature and for allowing animals to live freely and not be subjugated and exploited by
each other.
Except by each other, but that's a whole nother issue. That's what happens when, you know, they have that line of reasoning.
You know
I guess.
that animals aren't vegan, Bo.
I know animals aren't vegan. That's not the point. Human beings can be vegan. Okay. That's the point. They can choose to do so.
Can also not be and enjoy their lives.
Oh, whatever. fucking omnis, I swear to God.
Just kidding.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's our final thoughts on Princess Mononoke. I guess we'll go ahead and get into our promos and everything and plugs. What's going on with Collateral Gaming, Ash?
All right. Well, hopefully by the time this is out, we should finally have gotten our fucking Mario and Luigi episode out. Just life's kind of throwing out everything. It's hard to schedule things together. But
yeah,
Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga is the most recent thing we released, and then we are doing Horizon Zero Dawn and a spoiler-free review of Horizon Forbidden West. So that's going to be kind of our February event. We're also going to be doing a crossover episode with Collateral Cinema this month. We're going to be doing the Uncharted movie, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
That's interesting. I mean, I was never really a fan of the Uncharted games. To be honest, I've never played any of them.
Well, that's why you're not a fan of them. If you played them, you'd be a fan of them.
Yeah, I guess that this movie will be interesting to watch. It's like I don't have that much of a dog in the fight or in the game or whatever.
I think that's kind of the perfect way to approach it.
Yeah, probably. You know, like, I mean, maybe it's best to just kind of judge the movie on its cinematic merits and not so much how it relates to the game.
How bad can it be? It's got Antonio Banderas
and Tom Holland.
Which that's kind of the point of contention, I think, for a lot of people, is people think that Tom Holland is like this character that's just put into these roles. But I don't know. I think he actually works. His quippy nature as Peter Parker, I think, is actually right up Drake's alley. You know, you're just kind of maturing him a little bit. And
I don't know. I think that Tom Holland is just a British Michael Cera. That's all that he is. So.
He is not. He's quite a bit different than that. I mean, he's got that awkward nature to him, but he's also quick on his tongue, you know.
Yeah, and we may as well announce that we're going to do Multiverse of Madness. I mean, that's pretty much a given.
Yeah, as mentioned before, Elden Ring is going to be something we're going to be talking about probably the beginning of March. But we are going to be doing a live stream with Megan's brother Agony, who guested on our Dead Space episode. So we're going to be collaborating with him and doing like a live stream event. Or he's going to be doing it. We're going to help out for Elden Ring the day it comes out. I've already asked off for work, so
nice.
Yeah, I'm excited. I also want to talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus. If you're looking for, you know, just this same kind of vibe, that game kind of has it. It's a Pokemon game set in like a very historical Japanese setting. It's actually really interesting. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Also, Dying Light 2. I kind of want to get some spoiler-free game launch episodes out within this month. That's the plan.
Yeah, definitely. But that sounds awesome.
Yeah, and so we've got a lot on our plate, but at the same time, I mean, a lot of it's kind of overdue. So
yeah, definitely. As far as Collateral Cinema, the director's cut has a commentary out, and that's actually what kicked off our anime month. And that's Demon City Shinjuku. That's made by the same creator who made Wicked City and Ninja Scrolls. So check that out. There should be a link to the movie if you want to watch along with us on another device or whatever. Or if you have the DVD or a Blu-ray of it or whatever, yeah, queue it up and watch it with us. Just so you know, we also have our Ninja Scroll commentary. That's somewhere down in our back catalog of episodes. And our next anime movie that we're doing is like, oh yeah, we're getting into the real funky stuff. We're going to be carrying that weight, so
Hell
to speak.
yeah.
That's right. We are doing Cowboy Bebop, the movie.
Fuck yeah. I'm really excited. I love Cowboy Bebop to death. This season, in preparation for this episode, and in preparation for wanting to talk about the live action series, I kind of just consumed everything Cowboy Bebop. By the way, we're also doing a director's cut episode that's going to be focusing on Cowboy Bebop, so
yeah,
stay tuned for that
We're going to go ahead and go over the anime series, even though I kind of feel like Cowboy Bebop in and of itself deserves a podcast mini-series all of its own.
Yeah.
Just to kind of talk about each episode.
That would be cool.
That would be cool, because there's a lot to really get into when it comes to Cowboy Bebop. And there's a lot of reasons why the live-action series kind of was a huge misstep, in my opinion. I mean, if you've watched the original series, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, I don't think that there's any way to really, make it better.
I think that was maybe the problem, is that you're gonna compare it to the anime. I never expected it to be better than the anime. I always knew I was gonna prefer the anime, and I liked what the live action did. I thought they casted the characters perfectly, but I mean, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, they cast them perfectly, but they didn't really direct them rather well. That's my opinion there, more or less.
Yeah.
But we're also going to talk about the actual series as well, and we'll talk about the live action series a little bit. I would like to get my brother on that episode. He's another Cowboy Bebop aficionado. So, yeah, we're going to be getting into, like, quite possibly one of the best anime of all time.
Agreed.
It really is. So, yeah, definitely look for that. Ash, where could you find Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know. Should we remove our stuff off Spotify or not?
I don't know. Let's see if Joe Rogan acts like an idiot anymore further.
For now, we're everywhere you get your podcasts. So we'll see. Wherever you're listening to it right now, you big dummy. And also check us out on Podchaser.
Yeah, definitely on Podchaser. And also look for us on Good Pods. Follow us there. Check out our feed. We have a group there as well. It's Collateral Media Group. Look for that on Good Pods. And yeah, give us a rating and help us get on the charts. We've actually been kind of going up and down on the charts a little bit. Like last I checked, we were back into the top 50 of the indie film reviews and the main film reviews charts.
We're about to hit 10,000 downloads as of the recording of this.
Yes,
so.
we are close to 300 downloads away from 10,000. We are very excited. I don't know if we're going to make it to the end of the season. I don't know if we're going to break it before then, but hopefully we still have a lot of episodes left to release. I mean, and we also have some more director's cut content to release. We have, of course, our 420 episode will be coming up. And in March, we're also going to go in and release our Miike-versary episode, and that's going to be on probably one of the last really disturbing movies that we're going to cover from Takashi Miike, and that is Imprint, which was his Masters of Horror episode that was banned from Showtime.
Yeah.
And when we watch it, you'll see why. You'll be like, oh, yeah, that just happened.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, all of that just fucking happened. And Billy Drago was somehow involved in all of it. And all the geisha prostitutes are speaking like very stereotypically broken English. It's not really broken English, it's just really bad accents. It's like, I don't know. It's the first time that Miike actually did an English language film, so results may vary kind of there. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. And yeah, we're doing Evil Bong on the 420 episode. That's going to be a lot of fun. I believe we're going to have the Hush Hush Conspiracy podcast. That's a podcast that kind of, they take a little humorous look at conspiracy theories and whatnot. So Yeah, they'll be joining us for that. I think the St. Paul Filmcast will be joining us for So I Married an Axe Murderer, as well as someone who's been on our podcast before, Megan Price.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on our Princess Bride episode, our season finale for season 3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was.
No, season 2, I think.
No, it was season 2. Yeah, that's right. It was season 2. Right on. And yeah, we'll have her on. And yeah, on the Cowboy Bebop episode, we're going to have the Retro Anime podcast. So yeah, look for that as well. And I guess that's pretty much all that I have to plug. I don't know if you have anything further. I guess we can go ahead and plug Texas Sundown as well.
Yeah, Robert's not here. We were going to have Chaz on this episode as well. Also, I just want to say something for Chaz. I think that this movie influenced a generation.
It truly influenced an entire generation, 100%. I mean, it is just a genre and generation defining work. It defines a generation. It defines a zeitgeist.
Bottom fucking
text. Yeah, we are truly in a society. It's like you hate society, but you live in a society. Curious. But you know what? Screw it. I guess check out Texas Sundown. It'll be coming out very, very soon. Robert is not here, of course, to talk about it. Robert, because he fell asleep during the movie, like a doofus.
Fucking Robert.
Fucking Robert.
Robert, get some damn sleep before you record.
Yeah, come on, man. That's why we drink energy drinks before we do this. It's like, come on now. But yeah, I guess with all that said, I'm Bo Maddox. And this was Collateral Cinema. And yeah, I agree with Miyazaki. Anime was a fucking mistake. Anime was a fucking mistake. Go look on Anime Circle Jerk. It was a mistake. Laters, ladies and gentlemen. Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.